What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the A7E podcast. This is your host, Jiggadrin. We are on episode 29, guys. This is a very unexpected episode today, and honestly, last minute. Here we are at 10:30 in Texas, and I got a very special guest, my cousin Brenda Gracia. Cuz, thank you so much for coming on.
I'm half here.
You're half here?
The time changed.
Yeah. No, I know. So obviously you're coming in from Florida. And we over here are an hour behind, so technically for you, it's already midnight, essentially.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, you flew in yesterday, right?
Mhm.
It was yesterday, really?
I know it's kind of mixed up because I haven't slept so much,
Yeah.
so it's like everything's all jumbled up. So I got here like at 8 in the morning, but I was at the airport like at 4.
Yeah.
And then left at 6. Yeah.
From Florida, though.
Yeah.
Dang.
So we had to drive to Orlando, so it's like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I don't miss. Like, obviously, being in Florida is like whenever you wanted to fly anywhere,
Yeah.
you had to travel that hour and a half from where we lived to Orlando or to Tampa to fly out. So that was always dreaded those drives.
It did, but I think it was more because of the traffic. It didn't, it's always traffic. I mean, there's traffic here.
Yeah.
But from there, that's the reason, like, you got to leave 2 hours early just in case something happens. And then.
Yeah, that's true because think about it. I mean, if you're driving an hour and a half and then, and you leave 2 hours even and the traffic is ridiculously stupid,
Yeah.
you miss your flight. I mean, there's essentially no way around that.
You're done, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I think that's anxiety. That's why you can't sleep the night before a trip.
Yeah.
That's like, you got to leave early, but you can't even sleep.
Yeah, and here we have obviously the luxury of kind of having an airport that's, with no traffic, 10 minutes away, with traffic, worst case scenario, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but, nonetheless, thank you for coming. And then, I've been always wondering if we were ever going to do a podcast, obviously with you and your sister. So Mona's done a couple with me because she's been down here the most. And I know, unfortunately, the reason that all of you guys have been visiting at the moment, grandma's obviously like in a declining position. So, we're trying to be as close as possible. But I think your sister Chella is coming tomorrow.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll be able to do an episode with her as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's new? What's new with you? What's up? What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, I'm nervous, I'm not like Mona. She's done a couple of podcasts, Monica, and for those that don't know her as Mona.
Yeah.
But she's done a couple and she's more comfortable with it. So I get super nervous because I'm not used to people looking. I know they're not here, but still. So it's like, oh my God.
So it's funny you say it because those exact words Mona said on our very first episode.
Yeah.
And Mona was very nervous. And I mean, at that time, to be honest with you, I was too. And obviously I've done 3 with Mona. She's been, a lot better now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just a process. So, hopefully this isn't the last time you do an episode because, I mean, honestly, I think these are very fun. But at the same time, you gather value and experience and you start to get more comfortable in the mic and knowing that eventually people are going to hear the podcast. And I feel like that gives you an opportunity to put in something you haven't done before and just let go of the thought of worrying about what other people think of you.
Yeah.
So it's like, screw it. I mean, I have my listeners that I've gotten good feedback and, not every episode is going to be for every listener.
Yeah.
And even me, the owner of the podcast, I know that. Like, I know that I'm going to have episodes that are just going to be like, no one's going to enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's just a part of the process of putting out content. But, kind of today, I know I am going to try and keep it as brief as possible because it is late and I know you travel tomorrow. I also want to touch a little bit about, kind of like not so much specific like relationship experience, but also like potential, parenting experience. And mainly because, I mean, obviously I'm going to be a dad soon in about 2 months, right? But also maybe to kind of connect and relate a little bit to some listeners who might be in similar situations that you might have been in. And, because obviously you're a very strong person. I say that because I know you personally. And I know essentially some things that you've gone through and that you're looking to kind of essentially get better from, right?
Yeah.
So not to go too much into detail about the situation, but I mean, recently, obviously you've been in a situation where you find yourself between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
All right. how would you essentially, describe not the how would you describe it for you in your experience in those moments? Because everybody experiences hardship, sadness or whatever a bit differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how would you describe it for yourself?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck was happening
Yeah.
because it was all like it was good, it was very bad, very good, very bad. So it was back and forth. So it's just like, is this my life?
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to one day step out of that. I guess not environment or whatever, but just the box and the picture and look at it from a different angle, and before you realize it, it's just like,
Yeah.
this can't be it.
How did you come to finally tell yourself, hey, I have to look at this from, outside the box? Like, why not before or so quickly into when you found yourself like in quote unquote a mess? Why not sooner rather than later than it took you to do that?
Because you get torn between everybody that's involved in something like that. You get torn by their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's this person feel? What's this person feel? What's this person feel? I know that people say, like, hey, this is just the boyfriend-girlfriend situation, the wife and husband situation. But people forget kids' emotions are involved as well, mm-hmm. because they're in the environment with you. And a lot of people tend to forget that. So, you feel pulled between doing what's right for you, what's right for them, what's right for the other person. Whether any of those people involved deserve that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why it takes so long, because what's good for maybe two people is not good for the other three, or, for example.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously, in that process, I wonder, like, at one point, or did you ever, or have you even yet, were you able to put yourself essentially first, in regards to everything that was going on? Because I know you mentioned other people being involved, right? Mm-hmm. Did you have trouble putting yourself first, or, to kind of being like, I need to do what's best for me.
Yeah.
And then, the rest of the people will be affected by that. Or did you put other people first before you, and then you were the one that was affected by that?
How do I answer that? I feel like I went first. You know what I mean? And I took the fall first, mm-hmm. and then later on it was like, okay, then I just started putting everybody else first, and it didn't matter what I felt pretty much, or where I thought I stood, because I didn't think I stood anywhere. Mm-hmm.
So whenever, like, how long do you think that it took you essentially to kind of figure out, or come to the realization that again, that you needed to step outside the box and look at it from a different perspective, or the reality of the situation?
I felt like that in a couple of different situations in my life, not just these past few years. Even when I was a teenager, I feel like I've always been like a people pleaser. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of my downfalls, because you always tend to see the good in the people that, you hang out with, or you even conversate with, or anything like that. You try to see the good in them, and then it's not that way. And you tend to forget about yourself, because you want good for other people, and I think that's what the type of person that I am, because even the other day I posted on my Instagram, and I was like, a lot of people, I get happy for people when they progress in anything. It doesn't matter. Because why not? You know what I mean? Why can't you be proud for somebody, even if you don't know them? Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have to owe me nothing for me to applaud you, or you see the growth. And as me personally, I see growth in myself from where I used to stand a few years ago. But not everybody wants that for you. Mm-hmm. They want you stuck wherever they first passed judgment on you.
Yeah.
So that's where you're at forever.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I think that couldn't be truer. And I think the reason why people sometimes feel that they would like for people that they know and that they're familiar with to be stuck where they are essentially forever is because they sometimes feel like they're getting left behind, right? When they start seeing other people progress in their life, whether it be mentally, physically, health-wise, they start to kind of get realizations about themselves.
Yeah.
Right? So they start noticing that other people are progressing, and they're starting to feel left behind because they know that they haven't done much with themselves. Mm-hmm. And honestly, obviously, besides that being like extremely toxic, that's sad borderline because
It is.
in this life, I feel, I truly feel, and I've come to terms that in this life, I in my heart feel like this whole experience that we're living through all the way until our last breath should be and it has to be about not just progressing but evolving as yourself as much as possible before you're not able to anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so tell me, so you mentioned that you feel like even yourself, you feel like you progressed from where you were in the past couple of years. Do you know exactly how you've been able to, like, not how to do that, but in what ways have you been able to do that?
I can look myself in the mirror. For one, it's something that's very hard to do, is to say, you know what, I fucked up. This is my fault in this situation or any situation or whatever. Or sometimes you're just made to believe that you're not worth a damn, so you can't look yourself in the mirror. So it goes back and forth on those type of situations, I think. But now, I still have my days, like, especially with my kids, it's like, am I a good parent or am I a shitty parent? Like, am I doing what I need to do? Sometimes you can't control, like, I have a teenager, right? And then sometimes she's happy, sometimes she's sad. And I'm like, is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault she's like that? And I think sometimes we forget to take a breather on that stuff because at the end of the day, you can't control other people's emotions.
Yeah.
You can't. You can give somebody all the advice you want. They're going to do what they want.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that we forget.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you mean by that, regards to your, thought process as a parent. I feel like that's kind of where a lot of people go through. I think a lot of people have that same fear, concern if they are not good enough as a parent, especially to the kids, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like, like in most parts of life or aspects of life, we always try to at least be as best as we can, but we sometimes want to try and strive for perfection, which of course is a good goal to have, but in reality, when it comes to, and I'll find out soon, like having a child, I feel like we're never going to be good enough.
Yeah.
Like, we're never going to be good enough. Of course, we'll have days where we're like, okay, our kids are breathing, they're fine,
Yeah.
But, there's always going to be something about, kids. And I speak as a son right now, knowing my mom, that she always wanted us to be perfect.
Yeah.
And, we were nowhere close to it. And I know that she tried everything in her power to make us perfect. But, and the reality is, just like you said, you can do everything you can to guide somebody, but at the end of the day, they're going to have their own decisions.
Yes, always.
And one thing that I kind of I am planning to do, like when I have my baby, and I'm not saying this is what will happen, right? Because things change. I feel, speaking to my brother who had a baby 2 weeks ago, literally now.
Yeah.
I feel like when the baby's actually here, emotion gets involved, ideas get created, things of that nature. But I would like to think that I will be able to plan to essentially, obviously, keep my baby safe, but as she's growing, just navigate and guide her more towards, being there, hearing her out, and being someone that she can go to, and I say she because it's a girl, that she can go to when she wants to make decisions, right? Like, kind of being like, okay, if you're going to make a decision, come talk to me first, right? I'm not saying you can or cannot do something. Obviously, there's going to be some things that will be like red flag, don't do that.
Yeah.
But if you feel like you want to kind of step out of the box and you kind of you're going to make a big decision, it's like, come to me first. I want to make you feel welcome. I want to make you feel like you could come to your dad or to your mom to kind of brainstorm on the pros and cons of that decision that you're going to make.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm hoping that that's something that I'll be able to do. But I know we come from a very traditional family.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So obviously our moms, my mom and your mom are sisters. Now, my mom was very strict growing up, dude. And I think, my mom was very strict to her sons and also very strict to you guys. And the reason why she was able to be strict to you guys is because, you guys to us were always like sisters, right?
Yes.
And we were always very close. And I think you got to experience personally some of my mom's strictness. Yeah?
Yeah.
So now your mom was strict too. Your mom was very strict. Is that something that you think that has kind of rubbed off on you with your kids? Or do you feel like there's a massive difference between the way your mom brought you guys up and the way you bring your kids up?
No, how do I describe it? I feel like I talk to my kids more. You know what I mean? about stuff like that because I think we were having a conversation about it, how like you can't talk to your parents about depression back in the days because it didn't exist. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But then now you grow up like me, you know, I had postpartum depression. So I was like, oh, this is what that is.
Yeah.
This is why I like to sleep so much. You know what I mean? It's because you're depressed.
Yeah.
But to them, it's just like, huevona, get up. You know, stuff like that. So it's just like, man, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm feeling because I don't know. You don't know. You're my mom. You're supposed to know what's going on with me, you know? And now I feel like, you know, I try to talk more, but I think kids are more closed this time around. And I mean, I don't know if it's because I'm older and that's the way that I think is, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I said, you can't control people's emotions, but people are going to tell you what they want to tell you.
Yeah.
You know, you can press somebody to be like, tell me how you feel. Come to me with your problems, especially to your kids. But sometimes as a teenager, you don't want to tell your mom about certain things that are going on in your life because you feel like it's embarrassing or something. You know what I mean?
That's very true.
So it's like, you don't want to tell your mom like somebody's talking crap about you at school because she's going to be like showing up at school. And then, you know, you're like, damn, I didn't want to be a snitch. I'm just telling you how I feel. Like, you know, something happened.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference now, you know, and also, obviously kids are more involved in technology now. So it's just like, they don't want to talk to you. They're in their phone.
I feel you're right. I think a lot of the communication between, you know, today's kids is through technology. That's most of where their communication comes from. And I think from when they do it so much, especially when it's kids that grow up with it. And what I mean by grow up with it is like there's kids that do literally grow up with the technology, right?
Yeah.
And they're so used to communicating with friends or anyone across the screen, you know, via internet, via online. And they sometimes, because those type of interactions don't have social cues. And what I mean by that is like through the screen, they're not able to see people's facial expressions when they say something right or wrong, right? So they're not able to distinguish between tone, good tone, high tone.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like demeanor type of thing. So, and it's like now when they come to speak to someone physically for long periods of time, they're not really able to manage that because it's not the same as, you know, typing across the screen, because now you have to deal with other person's reactions, facial expressions, rebuttals, opinions, thoughts, and then whenever that gets thrown at them, they no longer know how to react.
Yeah. And
even themselves, because the communication that's coming to them from the screen, from across the screen, they also aren't worried too much about, you know, their personal reactions or what do I say or do when that's being said to me, negative or positive, you know. So, I mean, is that something that you notice like in today's interactions?
Yes. Both times that my teenager has said something serious in her life, she's texted me.
Really?
And I don't even mean texting me like, hey, mom, this is going on. It was like an edited video.
Okay.
And I'm just like, you know, in my adult mind, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Really? Like, it's something serious and this is what you're sending me.
Oh, she sent you a video?
She sent it through text from her room. So I'm just like, you know, what the hell, you know, is going on? So, and that's the way that she communicated that to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course I got mad, but I think at the end I was grateful that she even did it.
At least communicated.
Yeah, she told me. So I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, obviously, people our age, we grew up a little bit without internet, or a little bit without internet, and then kind of like midway, or as teenagers, we got the whole internet experience, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we were the last of the people who were experienced the raw, like traditional upbringing, but also got introduced to the internet and communication, things of that nature. And I sometimes wonder myself, is like, obviously, I mean, I know that it's, what's it called? Inevitable that your kids are going to be involved in technology. Yeah. And I sometimes wonder, is it like something that's going to take over completely in our newer generations? And if we're going to be the generation that's like old, but still understands technology, I wonder if like personal interactions are going to go away completely. And if everything's going to be done, imagine that, because that's actually, I didn't know that, but that's a good example of what could be, you know, happening in some households now, or could be happening soon in your household if we're not like aware.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying that it's a wrong or right thing. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the reality is that's something that happened where your child has something, you know, serious to say, and she feels more comfortable, you know, sending it through message.
Yeah.
And as a parent, do we, again, be grateful that she at least communicated it?
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, do we tell her, hey, you know what, next time do it in person? You know, how do we balance that?
I think once she did it, like sent it, it opened the door, because of course it's not just the topic. Like, okay, you know, it is what it is, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's something that it's gonna have a follow-up question here.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna text it back to you, because I am the type of person, I need to talk to you face to face, because, you know, I feel like it's more meaningful that way. And like you said, you can do it through text with somebody, anybody, your kids or your girlfriend, boyfriend, your brother, and it's the tone that people read it in. Like, if I'm in a bad mood, I'm gonna read your text message like you're insulting me or something.
Yeah.
And that's just how some people are, you know. So I like to have the conversations face to face, because I want you to hear me, and I don't want you to walk away from me. And I feel like, you know, from my past experience, I would always get shut down. Like, if I had to talk about something, it was a hang up.
Yeah.
Or just no response.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay. But I am grateful that she told me, even at all.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not something that's easy, I'm sure, to talk about. You know, I'm not going to go into depth, but.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of myself growing up as well. And, you know, as a teenager, as a kid growing up, yeah, you have certain things that, I mean, again, coming from traditional parents, whenever, you're right, like depression at that time didn't exist.
No.
Or like it was what your parents thought was right and wrong. And you grew up that way in the sense of, okay, if your parent didn't think it was right, spanking, whooping, whatever.
Yeah.
And if she thought it was right, hey, good job, you know? And I feel like, and I'm grateful for the way I was brought up, you know, in my aunts as well, because everybody was essentially on the same page. But I feel like, and you said it yourself, that you talk to your kids a little bit more, right? I think my mom did a good job, like talking to us, getting our opinions, you know, talking to us about things that we wanted. But I even plan to talk a little bit more, right? Because I think really doing our best to understand our kids and doing our extreme best to put ourselves in their position and in their shoes, I think will help essentially like both relationships, for your kid and then for yourself as a parent.
Yeah. It's tough how to parent, especially when you've been in a hard place before with those kids. It's kind of like you don't want to overcompensate for what you failed them in already. So now in the future, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, are you going to be like of course you got to stand behind your kids always, you know, no matter what. Obviously even murder. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you got to do it. Like, and that's just it. And a lot of people, you know, especially people that are looking at from the outside, they don't understand what goes on in your home with your own kids. Because, you know, like their aunts and uncles see them, but they don't see them like parents do.
They don't see them like exactly like parents do. Yeah.
So I think, you know, kids have different personalities. Like they act one way at your house and they act total different way at school. You know what I mean? And I know because I've known people like that. I've done it myself too, you know, so it's just, it's kind of tough. Like I said, you don't want to worry about whether you're being a great parent all the time, but you don't ever stop. Yeah. It's like being a parent is a dream and also your nightmare at the same time, because the whole time it's like, are my kids okay? Especially with everything that's going on with the school shootings, dude. Yeah. Like, damn. Because do I send my kid to school? Yeah. Do I not? Like, you know, like they say, essentially you're supposed to be secure. And then you have this crazy person that's pissed off at the world because, like, the last guy, somebody made fun of his clothing. So now I'm going to go kill everybody and their fucking mom. Like, what did those kids do to you, dude? Like, they can't even defend themselves, like, at all. It's crazy.
In regards to that being very true in our modern day, which is mind-blowing sometimes, that our kids are essentially exposed to that potential, like, type of behavior from other kids that could be going through it. Now, people are always asking for solutions, and I won't give my opinion on what I think would need to be done, because in all honesty, I don't really have one right now.
Yeah.
In regards to like how do you prevent that type of those type of events from happening, but
you can't.
Yeah, and my question to you, just because you're back home in Polk County, I remember seeing something about that. Like, is there something going on, or was there like a comment made about some schools in Polk County looking to have more security at the schools? I remember, because it's Jude Grady or Grady Jude?
Grady Judd.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, he's cool. And I remember seeing a post that reached me through like the Explore page on Instagram, that about schools in Polk County were looking to, man, I might butcher this a little bit, but long story short, add more security, armed security in the schools. And I think Sheriff Judd?
Yeah, Grady Judd.
Sheriff Judd. Yeah. Sheriff Judd was essentially flat out said if anything were like that to happen in our schools in Polk County, that they wouldn't hesitate to take the shooter down.
Oh, no. This is a person that basically, remember when the hurricanes came around?
Yeah.
And he pretty much was listening that everybody was bursting into houses and people were being robbed, because of course people were looting.
Yeah.
He said, here in Polk County, we blow motherfuckers back.
Yeah.
Basically, essentially that's what he said.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that's his thought on it. So I'm not surprised. I haven't personally read that or anything, but I did read somewhere that they wanted to put, like, I guess maybe like retired veterans and stuff like that. And I don't think that that's a bad idea. I mean, you have a resource officer, but it's only one, I think. I don't think it's enough, I don't know how to feel about it, honestly, because it's, you see, like, when I go to my kids' school, they have to let me in through a ring bell before they can open the door.
What's a ring bell? Sorry?
Like, it's kind of like the doorbell with the ring.
and they have to see who you are, and then they can let you in.
And then they let you in. But still, you don't see if I have a big gun or a gun under my sweater. Like, and it doesn't matter if... I watch a lot of CSI stuff, but it doesn't matter. Like, if I get in through the first door, like, I already, especially if you're checking out the place kind of deal, whatever case may be, you know what the process is for me to get into that second door. It don't matter. And then most of these places don't even have fences or nothing to keep anybody out. So how are you going to keep somebody that's coming in holding a big ass rifle, by the way, you know what I mean, when you can't even see them either? So it's crazy to me. I think that's crazy.
No, it is crazy. And that's one of the most mind-blowing things to me personally, because it's like, it's most mind-blowing because it comes from an underage kid. Exactly. Teenagers. And it's like,
an angry person.
Yeah, an angry person. And I get it sometimes that people are ridiculously angry, and things tend to go that way, and they maybe feel that that's their expression of anger, but at the cost of everybody else's life is that's the mind-blowing part, right? And I think it's a good idea, honestly, to retired veterans, give them an opportunity to earn money, put back to work at a, for the most part, safe environment. And what I mean by that is because we don't think, or we don't plan for those type of events to happen constantly, right? Mm-hmm. So it could put them in a position where, they're still making a living for themselves, and, and they feel good about something, right? Helping protect, keep kids secure at their schools. So, yeah, when I saw that in Polk County, I thought that was pretty cool, because I know that he's like that.
Oh, he doesn't play, dude.
Yeah.
I think he's been sheriff for, it's been a while. I don't even know if you can, that the president, you can only get elected for 8 or 2 terms.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it works for a sheriff, but he's there.
He's been there for a long time.
And he's very good. Like, he chased down this guy that committed murder down Mom Street. It was crazy. Yeah, in Frostproof. So he chased him all the way to damn Georgia, and he said, that's my person. Brought him back. And I don't know what happened with the case after that, you know, but it's the point that he's like, I'm going to make a point to go get my person that did this in my county. Yeah. I'm going to take care of it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. But I think it wouldn't hurt to try something.
100%.
You got to try something somewhere, because like I said, it usually it's somebody that's very angry that's doing this stuff. And most of the time it's to people that aren't even involved in what's happening to you. They have no idea. Like, they don't know that your mom's beating you up at home, and that's the reason why you're gonna sit there and do all this to everybody else. But why is it their fault?
Yeah.
why, when you think about it, especially these last little kids, they were babies, dude. I have nieces and nephews my son's 8. I have a 10-year-old nephew, so that's the age group. And it was sad, dude, like seeing all the coffins and stuff, and it's very sad.
It's heartbreaking, honestly, because then your question is, dude, like, how do I feel comfortable sending my kid to school? Not saying that it would happen this year, next year, in 10 years, but like, why would I ever want to put my kids in a position where they're exposed to that potential situation, right? Mm-hmm. So then my question is, like, does homeschooling become a serious topic?
Yeah.
And if homeschooling becomes a serious topic, then how can we fund families who choose to homeschool their kids?
Yeah.
Can we provide resources? Can we, there's a lot of, at university levels, right? Maybe it's not the same. I haven't really thought about it too much. I'm literally thinking on the spot. It's like at university levels, you can get a whole degree online, a whole degree. And it's okay. Can we put our kids, at the K2 through 12 or, maybe 6 through 12 education, like online or in school? I mean, I get the benefits from a public school. You get to interact, socialize, you work on your person-to-person skills, communication as well. But it's like, if safety is really becoming an issue, should essentially the government heavily consider like reevaluating where to put funds to help families feel safe for the education of the kids.
Yeah. I don't see it happening. I think it's something that would, how do I say it? Like me, I don't have somebody to take care of my children, right? So if I don't have somebody to take care of my children, I can't go to work.
Yeah.
So it's the same case with homeschooling. You can keep them home all you want to, but what about your job?
Yeah.
You have to take care of those kids either way. If you don't have a job, you don't have money for food or whatever, even if you get government help, you don't get government help. Mm-hmm. And I think if that would be the case, like they're going to try to do this and, hey, let's homeschool to see for the safety of the children or whatever, there has to be some type, like you said, assistance for people that have to stay home for their kids. Because in reality is not everybody's going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to have, what type of job are you really going to have? Yeah. Especially if you want to be one of those people that are very accomplished.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Of course.
And you want to do the best for your kids, of course. And it's, like you said, a safety precaution. But I don't know.
No, and I think a potential solution, obviously, I don't know the politics behind it. I don't know the what's it called, like the process of it, or if it's even possible, but a concept or idea where, okay, you take the one of the parents in the house who volunteers and says, you know what, I'll be the one to homeschool my kids, and maybe I can take on, let's say, another 5 kids from other families.
Yeah.
Right? But I need you to pay me. The government needs to pay me like they pay teachers now. Mm-hmm. Or teachers now who are in schools, can they stay home or, dedicate them in an area somewhere where, let's say, a maximum of 10 kids come to them. But to each teacher, those kids learn all subjects. So they don't have to keep switching classes like they do now.
Yeah,
right?
I get what you're saying.
So potentially having a situation where one of the parents volunteers and, okay, you know what? The mom, she wants to stay home for sure for her kids. We'll give her a salary of $35,000 or, $80,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I've always thought about that, especially after the
I don't even know that real teachers make that much, though.
No, I know. Yeah. I mean, just depends on what
I don't know
stage.
their salary. I'm just... Yeah. They always say they don't make much.
They don't make much for...
Which sucks.
They don't make much for, I think, the stress and how much they have to deal with.
Yes. And you know what? I think... I've always thought about that, too. I know people that are teachers. Yeah. But I always feel like they don't get paid enough. Yeah. If to teach you what you need to do to progress in your life to make the world better for the next generation, because in reality that's what you're setting it up for. Because it's not going to be for you in a couple years. You got to go. And that's just the reality. And we were talking about that earlier, the part of life is it's just a circle. Yeah. You're going to be here, and then you're not. Mm-hmm. So why are these people not getting paid enough? And even cops, they say they have a crappy salary too. Yeah. And they're taking care of business outside, whether people agree with them being they beat people up or they don't beat people up. At the end of the day, they can catch a bullet off somebody that's just as angry as the people that are shooting up the kids. I think it's all entwined, and it's hard, you know what I mean? Because it's you can opinionate all you want to. Some people aren't going to agree with everything you have to say. But I don't know, dude. I think you got to try somewhere, especially because those kids, like I said, they're our future, and it ties in with the whole Roe versus Wade thing because you're worried about all these unborn children whenever we're bearing 10 other kids.
Yeah.
At one time. It's not like you're, hey, he died this day, this day, this day. No, those kids died all at the same time.
Yeah. That's a good point. So do you mean like a little bit more about the focus of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I feel like I said earlier, you can't control people's emotions. People should do whatever they want with their bodies. Why not? Would I personally do that? No. But that's me.
Yeah.
But if I feel like I was in a situation where I had no choice but to go abort a baby, you have to. Why can't it be my choice? If it's going to kill me, if it's going to kill it, or whatever, or you know that person, the baby goes suffer, why not? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you really expect, like I think I read somewhere that a 10-year-old got pregnant. She was denied an abortion. What's she going to do? She can't even drink by the time the baby's 10 years old. She can't even drive her baby around. How are you going to, you got to rely on grandma. You know what I mean? And then that's somebody else that's paying for what's happening. You know what I mean? Like I said, I just don't know why someone should feel so entitled to the right that you have to your own body.
Yeah.
You give a shit about whether I'm going to have a baby or not, but why can't you sit there and give me good food that's not manufactured with all these hormones and all this added shit at the end of the day? And then you don't give a shit about my kid going to school to better America. He might not come home. You get what I'm saying? There's things that they don't, they're, oh, we're going to donate a lot of money to China, donate a lot of money to Russia or Ukraine, I'm sorry, for what's happening. What the fuck about us, man? Like, I'm sorry. Like, I get government help, dude, but even with the government help, these prices on food, they're going up. Fuck. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I got 3 kids and myself. I don't even eat that much. You know what I mean? But still, it's not even enough. And it's crazy to me because you're worried about the wrong things.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying loud and clear, and I agree. I agree with, certain focuses from essentially the government being in specific areas where a lot of people feel left out and feel neglected by their own government, right?
Yes.
And, that's the reality of it, man. And it's crazy. Like, man, it's so hard not to, like, get involved in those things because essentially in this world and in life, you will never, no matter what you do, no matter what decisions are made or not made, you won't ever have 100% of the people agree on anything for as long as you live, for as long as life has ever existed. But for the most part, there's certain things some decisions that can be made that can be at least leaning more towards like what is right, essentially. And I think freedom of choice in all aspects of life should be prioritized. Just like yourself, like you mentioned, if would you do it? Probably not, right? Like that's essentially in regards to the freedom of choices, like to abort or whatever. And I'm not that type of person either to support that, but there are situations that could potentially call for the person to decide.
Yeah.
Right.
Like okay, like let's say, like for example, me, I get pregnant, and they say if you go through with it, you're gonna die. I got 3 kids. Is the baby gonna die too? So then I will leave 4 kids behind, or what's really happening? But why can't I decide?
That's a good point.
You're gonna tell me I can't, even though I might die on your table? That's the whole point of doctors, is to make you better, not to make you die on the table. And even then, they're caught between a rock and a hard place. Yeah. Because they can't do shit about it.
And that's why it should be the person's choice. And you're right. Honestly, whenever people mainly bring up things like that, like their immediate thought and their initial thought is just a decision between yes or no of having a baby. Just a decision between yes or no of aborting a baby, right? Very few times do people actually think about like the infinite circumstances of making that decision. Again, and that was a great example that you made, actually. And I hadn't thought about that before, where the mother's in a situation where, if she has the baby, she's going to die for health complications, and then she will leave a family behind, right? Is that, not to get like too much out of the spectrum, but that wouldn't be fair to the kids that you already have, you know, having to live the life without the mother simply because they have no choice.
Yeah.
And, you know, aborting a baby at this point is no longer allowed.
Yeah.
So now I do wonder now, since you just brought that up, how many families are getting left without a mother because of health complications and they're not able to say no.
Well, because you go in to deliver your baby, dude, and they ask you, do you have a living will? No. Because I expect to walk out of here.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, whether you deliver a baby or not, there's still complications. Everything can go left, dude. And I know from experience, not because I almost died on the table or anything, but I had a really bad pelvic injury. And I couldn't walk. And that to me was very bad. So I can't even imagine people like that have like cesareans, hemorrhaging, and, you know, stuff like that. People die on the table. It's crazy. You're already putting your life at risk when you're supposed to think like, I'm bringing somebody into this life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you really don't ever know if you're really going to walk out of there after you have that baby, or even during, or even if at all.
That's a good point.
A lot of people deliver babies that are stillborn. Now, I don't say it because I want to scare you, but that's just what it is.
Yeah, that's the reality of it.
So, and so my last thought when I had my baby, Roman, was like, he was a big baby, and I started to panic, you know, because I'm just like, oh my God, he's so big. Am I going to make it back home to my two children? Because they need me. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm talking about Damien and Desiree.
Yeah.
So all these thoughts go through your head.
Wow.
And I feel like that's an option, you know, like, because I think I used to read a book it was Nicholas Sparks. I love him. And he was basically saying that I think it was called The Choice or something, and they pretty much had to make a choice, like, you want to save your baby, you want to save your wife. It's kind of in those situations, but why can't the woman have a choice of what she wants to do in a situation? Because at the end of the day, like I said, with a 10-year-old, whether it was intentional or not that she got pregnant, what if she got raped by her uncle? You know what I mean? Or why would she have to live with something like that psychologically? Even because it's like, now I gotta look this person in the eye. You know what I mean? And yeah, maybe you can look past it, maybe you can't. I don't know. Obviously, I've never been in that situation, so I can't really say too much. Yeah. But what if it kills her?
Yeah.
You're gonna save one child, but not the other. Back to the school shootings.
Exactly. Yeah, man. And that's what essentially, when you think of the depths of everything that's going on, like, if you really just kind of sit there, it really can be overwhelming at times to kind of feel like, as a person or an individual or a citizen that's just, you know, of the states, or you sometimes feel like you have no power. And a lot of people say you have power in voting and making a decision. I agree. But then it's like, when things don't go your way, you're sometimes like, oh, well, you know, you sometimes feel almost invaluable or useless whenever you want to have a voice, but you don't know how to magnify it enough to make an immediate impact, you know. But because we're gonna go ahead and stop right there. Okay. Only because I have promised her only 30 minutes, and also because again, it being last minute,
I'm not that interesting for an
no
hour.
and honestly, this was a different type of episode, and you know, I love exploring like new tones, new new vibes type of thing. But I've always liked to talk about you know, people's perspectives on things like that, and you are the first one actually who we've openly talked about like certain things specifically. And even though it was a short episode, like, I hope, you know, the listeners got like a little bit of taste of what I like to kind of get into the most. I mean, I love motivation. I love personal development, you know, what's it called? Underdog stories, and coming back and finding solutions to problems of that nature. But, you know, there's other things going on in the world that, you know, people like to have opinions on, people care about, you know, and being able to explore those with some of my guests is what I would like to do, essentially, moving forward.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I was really nervous at first. That's why we did the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm good now, I think, you know, but like I said, not a lot of people agree with the way that I opinionate. Sometimes people say that I'm too blunt about certain things. I tend to mind my business a lot.
Yeah.
You know, drink your water, mind your business kind of deal. You know what I mean? So, but when I get into, like I said, conversations with you or anybody else, I'll share my opinion, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that's just like, what the come on. You know what I mean? And you know me, I can talk some shit. I don't care, you know? Yeah. So let's talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I you know, and that's what makes podcasting kind of exciting is because you get to do those things, right? And most people are like, oh, well, who's going to listen to us? Like, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's like at the end of the day, someone will. I've had the luck and, the blessings of having very cool followers. And I know that they listen because, they reach out and they say their things, right? So, man, we'll see how many people like this episode. Yeah. But because what do you, obviously, Brenda's a very like outgoing person. I think she's very funny. She posts a lot of funny stuff on her Instagram. Where can people find you, like, on Instagram?
They can't
find you.
No, because you know what? Mona always says, make a TikTok. You're funny. Everybody to make a TikTok. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just on Instagram, dude. But like I said,
what's your username? Do you know it by heart?
Oh, it's B_Mufasa 5. Okay. It's a weird name, and I don't want to go into details because my mom follows me on how I got the name for it, but it's being.
Oh, so there's a story behind it.
Oh yeah. Oh well, basically, like, dude, like mom knows, I smoke. Yeah. And pretty much, I just was like, man, I need a username, and I was watching The Lion King, and that's it. Yeah. Like, B is for my first name, and then 5 for my birthday.
Yeah. And Mufasa because of.
Mufasa was falling down the rock, man. Yeah. Like, I was just like, oh, perfect. Yeah. Cool. You know me. I don't take shit too serious sometimes. I try not to, especially now. Before, like I said, I'm in a different spot.
Yeah, for sure.
And now I feel like I'm me again. I'm happier. I can laugh.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah.
And you seem
everybody
that
says
way.
It. Yeah.
You seem that way, and I'm a personal testament to that because I've seen you, in a couple of months ago, and I see you now, and you're out there, you're vibing again like you used to.
Yeah.
And it's really cool for us to see, especially as family, And obviously, I'm always excited for my families and friends who have a lot of potential ahead of them, and I know, hopefully things for you and for everyone get better.
Oh yeah.
Right. Hopefully. So I'm looking forward to that for you, and I hopefully, you never know, and I hope that the next time you're in Texas is for not an unfortunate event, essentially but if you ever come back, or even if I go and I take my stuff with me, I'd love to do another episode with you. You see, you're comfortable now, so no excuses on the next one. We'll be able to do it better.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, this was episode 29 of the A7E podcast, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free or do me a favor and share it with someone that you and that you think that might enjoy it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.